But no, I do. I love to write and I love to sing them. I was always singing, but I was always writing since I was little. So they kind of go together for me.
How many songs have been published that you've
Oh,
written?
hundreds. Hundreds and hundreds of songs that have been published. And I've written thousands of songs.
Do you ever hear a song and you don't know you've even written it?
I'll hear a song every once in a while, and I'll think, well, that sounds so familiar, and then I'll realize it's one of mine. But when you write that much, you do kind of lose track.
Give me the modus operandi. We'll talk about the current album, but about how you work. Do you sit down? Are you in a lonely room? How do you write?
Well, I write all kinds of ways. If I had my preference, what I like to do is to have enough time off to say I'm going to take the next 2 weeks, the next month to go to write, and I'll either go up to my old Tennessee mountain home or out to the lake, but I don't have that luxury of time anymore. But I write all the time. I'll wake up in the mornings, I may be making breakfast, and all of a sudden I'll get a good idea for a song, or I'll be humming a melody and I'll run and put the melody down so I don't forget it. And I'm always coming up with good titles. So I can do it any which way, and if somebody commissions me to write a song, I just have to say, okay, I got to write this afternoon, so I just go and focus and do it.
Who might, a company might commission you to write a lyric? Or
Yeah, well, like when I wrote the musical 9 to 5, or sometimes if somebody's doing a special show, like a children's show or something.
You are so busy doing so many things. Do you have downtime?
No, I do. I mean, I'm like you, I would imagine, because you've been at it so long. It's
60 years,
it's a lifestyle with me.
Yeah,
It's a way of life. I don't think about it. That there are sometimes, like today, I've been doing so many interviews that I talk so fast that I almost hyperventilate because I'll have to go from one to the other, and I think, I need to catch my breath. But usually, as far as just the doing it, it energizes me, really. And I have, everything is planned out. Everything's on a schedule.
Do you ever veg out? I've never said that before in my life. I don't even know what it means.
It's an old-timey saying.
Ask her if she veggies out. I said, I sleep with string beans. I don't know what veg.
Well, I veg out and I pig out. I do whatever. But actually, I like to relax. My husband and I usually, if I'm not working, we go out to, I have a little lake house here, and we go out to my lake house and just read.
Now tell me about Pure and Simple.
We got asked to do some charity things. Like,
I imagine you get hit on.
I did get hit on, but it was actually, I was hitting on myself too, because part of it was for the Imagination Library. So I got asked to do some charity shows, and one being for the Grand Ole Opry Trust Fund, where we make up money for the older folks for health purposes and all. So we try to do that. So my band had gone on tour, my main band with other people, because I was off the road. So I just put together a very small little trimmed down version of my show, and it's just talking, just three of us on stage, 4 of us, 3 musicians and me, and people loved it. And people said, you got to take this show on the road. So I had called that little tour Pure and Simple, and I thought, well, if I've got Pure and Simple tour, I've got to have a Pure and Simple CD. What'll I write it about? So maybe I'll do an album of love songs this year, because I've been married 50 years this past year, and I thought, well, a good year to write love songs. I know about love, and you do too. So I thought I'd just draw from all the, the feelings I've had.
So you're going to write a love song. So how do you know you're going to write a love song? You do 12 songs, how many is it, right? You sit down and say, what? How long does it take to do that?
Well, some of them come very, very easy. For instance, when I started to write the main song, Pure and Simple, it was such a pure and simple little song. I just started singing, every time I think about you, I get chills along my spine. I thought, ooh, that's simple, easy. And so I just kind of went back in time it reminded me of my old records. So all of that came right back. And before I knew it, I wrote that within probably an hour and a half. I had that one done. Then some of the others were a little more involved. And so they all have their own personality.
You told me your great love story, you met in a laundromat?
Yes, my husband and I we met 52 years ago. First day I came to Nashville, and at a wishy-washy laundromat. Remember, I used to always kid about it. It's been wishy-washy ever since. But it was a cute place to meet.
He brought his wash and you brought yours?
Yeah, well, actually, I had brought my wash, and I had it in the machines, and I was just walking around outside, just looking around my new place. That's my new home, Nashville. And he just came driving by, and he saw me. I had on a little rib tickler. I was showing my belly. I had a little red top and little shorts and all that. So I guess he just...
he was a little excited?
Well, he probably just saw a girl that he thought was cute, that he might could pick up. And sure enough, he did.
You went out pretty soon?
Yeah, well, actually, he came up to the place where I was staying for a few days till I got to know him. And and the first time he took me out, he took me over to his mom's house and said, "Fix this girl a plate. This is a girl I'm going to marry." And I went, "What?" And I thought, well, that's pretty bold. You didn't ask me about that, you know, because he was this kid and he's got a great sense of humor. But I found out he wasn't really kidding, so it did happen.
Not bad.
Promote
You're
it.
doing a big tour, right, in support
I'm
of
on
this?
tour now. I actually started in June, and we're all over. We're going through till the 10th of December. So we work a couple of weeks on, a couple of weeks off to do other things. But we're having a great time, wonderful crowds.
You ever forget what city you're in?
Yes. One night I was in, I think I was in Virginia or whatever, and we did whatever the show was that we'd done the night before. I called out that, and then I just made a joke of it. They just laughed. I said, "Lord, you get so confused," you know. But every once in a while it happens. I said, "Hello, Ohio," and I was in Virginia or something.
Why don't you stay in hotel rooms?
Well, because I don't want to, and I don't have to. No, actually, seriously,
You stay on the bus?
I love my bus. I have a great tour bus. It's one of those that, you know, you convert them into a wonderful home. We got everything in there, and it's just so much easier. All your things are already there. You don't have to go back and forth into a hotel room. I just pull right up to the stage, go in, do the show, get back. I can go right to bed.
Like Willie Nelson?
Yeah, exactly. We all love our buses. Those of us.
Don't you ever have to fly somewhere?
Oh, sure, we do.
Then you stay in a hotel if you.
Yeah, if we have. We on occasion, of course, we have to stay in a hotel. But even when we toured, we toured Europe and Australia a few times since 2007, and we had they put some buses together for me there, and that whole tour, with the exception of having to fly on the longer days, but we had a bus on each coast, you know, just like here. And so we would live in the bus. It was stocked the way, they both were stocked the same.
Does it always work? By that I mean, you're so well known, you're so celebrated. Do you ever have a bad night?
Oh, there are times, yeah, but even if I've been sick, there's just this magic thing that happens with me. When I know that I have to get up, there's just something about that spotlight. And just before I go on stage, I ask God to just lead me, guide me, let me, you know, give me the strength and, you know, do whatever. And so once I'm there, I'm lifted up into that moment. I may crash when I get back to the bus. I have done that before if I've gone on not feeling great, which I have.
You ever miss performances?
I have a few times. I try not to, but I have in the past. Most of that is mostly just a vocal thing if your voice goes out.
Obviously, with all your success, you don't have to work.
Well, I do have to work because I love it. I have to. I don't have to do it for money, but I still have to work for my soul and for my mind, and I love it. I love to work. And I don't think about my life in terms of money. I'm grateful for all of it, any of it that I may have. But I'm like my daddy. I still feel like I need to be working for a living. I can't just lay around.
I know you don't get into politics a lot, but you're a trailblazer. You must have some feeling about having a woman run for president.
Oh, well, I think that's wonderful that we've got to that place. I mean, I think it would be great, whether it's Hillary or some other woman somewhere, you know, down the road. I think it's wonderful that, because women are smart, women are good. I mean, we've always been smart.
But when you were a little kid, one of the things you wouldn't have wished for was to be president.
No, I never wanted to be in politics at all. I don't even like talking about politics. But I guess we are politicians in a way. Being in show business, you have to be, you know, diplomatic. You have to, you know, do your things a certain way. But that's different if you're running your own life as opposed to trying to run a country where lives of so many are dependent on you.
Didn't you recently, though, throw support to the LGBT community?
Oh, I'm always encouraged. I'm not encouraged. They've made me the poster child, I think, only because I'm so outspoken as far as just being accepting of people in general. I do not believe that we should criticize and judge other people. I think we should be accepting and loving. We are all God's children. We are who we are, and we should allow be allowed to be who we are.
Did any of the faith-based communities that deeply believe the other way take umbrage with you?
Oh, absolutely.
They did?
Oh, yes, I get it all the time. I keep saying, well, if you're the fine Christian that you think you are, why are you judging people? Why are you, that's God's job. We're not God. We're not judges. You know, we're supposed to love one another. We're supposed to not judge, and we're not supposed to take vengeance on other people. That's God's job. So I got too much to do of my own, try to do God's work, too. I mean, not to, you know, to get into trying to do all that. So, yeah, I suffer for everything I do. I'm not out to make any, you know, I just think that we should be more loving, more caring. We are who we are. If you're gay, you're gay. If you're straight, you're straight. And you should be allowed to be, you know, how you are and who you are.
Frank Sinatra said the toughest part of getting older is you lose friends. You've lost some friends in the country.
Yes, I have. I look back sometimes and think about it, that so many of my old pals, like Porter Wagoner.
Have you seen Glenn Campbell at all?
I have not seen him. I saw that documentary on him. It's so sad, I know. Yeah. I know, but you never know what's going to happen to you. You never know how you're going to age or how you're going to die or what's going to get you. Something's going to.
More with Dolly Parton. Her new album is pure and simple. She's also on tour for it, and it's so well packaged. The woman is amazing. I don't like to get into myself, but I've written the first line of a song.
Oh, yeah?
And I've had other country people say it could be a hit. You could finish it.
You think?
And the first line is, I'd rather be homeless than be home with you. Is that funny? That's country. I'd rather be homeless than be home with you.
Well, I think that's
I'm giving it to you, Dolly.
Well, I'll put some thought into that, Larry. Can I get back with you on that one?
Is it true that your trio albums with Linda Ronstadt, Emmylou Harris have been remastered? Are they going to re-release them?
Yes, actually, it's coming out in September, and it's the two originals, Trio and then Trio 2. And then we had about 20 new songs left in the can on the shelf that we never had put out. So we decided that we should get that out so everything can be out there. So they've remastered, remixed the first two, and then they've added all these new things. And that's one of the things I'm proudest of musically that I've ever done.
How is Linda? Have you spoken to her?
I have not spoken to her.
She has Parkinson's.
Parkinson's, yes. When Emmy and we did recently just some promotion on the Trio album here and doing some press things. And so Linda called in to a couple of those. We heard her on the phone and all. Her voice is a little weak. She can't sing. And she's talked well for a while, but I could tell she got a little weak toward the end. I know, such an amazing voice. But she's doing well, and she's handling it well.
Of all the songs you've written, did you have one that was, to you, a surprise hit?
Well, I'm surprised if any of them are hits, because when you write songs, you never really know, because if we all knew that. I was surprised that when Whitney Houston did I Will Always Love You, that it became such a big hit. I was more surprised with that.
Do you sing it?
Oh, every night. That's how I close my show. That's my signature song. Because I always say to my fans, you know, thank them for being...
When you wrote it, did you give it to Whitney?
No, I had a little story about that song. When I first recorded it, it was a #1 song for me in 1972 when I first wrote it. Then when I did The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas with Burt Reynolds, we used it in that movie, and it became a #1 song again. So it's the first time that the same song has ever been #1 with the same artist. Then I had a top 10 record as a duet with it with Vince Gill. And so then Whitney did it. So it's almost like every 10 years or so.
Were you shocked when Whitney did it?
Oh, yes, I was so pleased.
She sang it great, too.
Oh, I mean, who could ever have done more than that with it? I mean, it took it all over the world.
We're going to play a little game of If You Only Knew, right? I'm going to throw some questions at you.
Okay, and I probably won't know them.
Okay. Funniest fan encounter?
Well, it's not a funny one, but the most unusual. That work is good.
Okay, yeah.
Years ago when my song Jolene came out, I came home one day from work. We had our new home in Brentwood, and there was a basket at the gate, and I thought, ooh, somebody left us some food or something, and I looked in it, and there was a baby in it, and there was a note that said, "My name is Jolene, and I want you to have me. You can have me for keeps," or something to that effect. And I freaked out. I didn't know what to do, so I went straight on up to the house. I thought, well, I don't need to touch. I don't know what to do. So I went to the house, and the lady that was at the house, I said, "Call child services, call the police, whatever." And then they came, and I never knew what happened. But that was the creepiest, weirdest thing in the world.
And you didn't know what happened after?
I didn't know how to. They took it, and I thought, well, I can't get any more involved.
That's an unbelievable story.
But is that not a good story?
Ooh. What's your proudest accomplishment?
I'm proud of all of them, but some of the highlights was when I became a member of the Grand Ole Opry. That was a childhood dream. That was in 1969. But some of the bigger things that's been done, is paying tribute, is the Kennedy Center awards. I'm sure that you know all about those things. So those were wonderful things. Being put in the Songwriters Hall of Fame was a really big highlight.
If you weren't doing what you do, different career, what would you be?
Well, I've always said I'd probably been a beautician, because I would have had to have been able to afford the products. I'd have had to have my hair bleached. I'd have had to have my makeup. So I'd have needed to be in a business that I could get a discount on all that.
What's something no one knows about you?
Well, Lord, I can't imagine that after all these years, as much as I've been asked, they're going to know everything I'm going to tell them.
Is there a thing you'd most like to change about yourself?
Well, no, because I wish I could live forever. You know, I kind of picked I picked a number, like when I was 35, that was a great pinnacle. You know, that was a wonderful time in my life. So I've always just chose to kind of live in that frame of mind, you know, and I don't have time to get old anyway. But I think to change anything could change the whole picture. I'm not one of those people that goes back and say, "Oh, I wish I'd have never done that," because everything I did...
You don't have regrets, right?
No, because everything I did seemed to be the thing to be doing at the time.
Is there a TV show you're embarrassed to say you watch?
Well, everybody says I should be embarrassed, because I love those forensic shows. I don't watch a lot of TV, but sometimes late at night, you know, when I come home or before I go to bed, I love to watch, you know, those cold case files and, you know, forensics. I'm fascinated with how they can just trap somebody with a hair or a bug. All that stuff. I know.
What's your biggest splurge?
On show clothes.
Any weird habits?
Well, you'd probably have to ask somebody else what my weird habits are. I don't know. I don't think so.
Did you have a childhood celebrity crush?
No. Well, when Elvis hit the scene, I think all young girls were in love with Elvis, and I was young at that time.
Musically, how great was he?
Well, he was a fantastic singer. He didn't write, but he was a wonderful, magnetic personality. But he had a wonderful, wonderful voice.
What's the characteristic you value most in others?
Honesty and being on time.
Do you get angry?
Oh, well, I often say, well, of course, everybody gets angry. I often say I don't lose my temper that often, but I use it quite a bit. Sometimes you got to be a little more firm about certain things.
You have 11 siblings, right?
Yeah.
Yet you never get racked around in the tabloids.
Oh, I do. I've been all over that through the years. Yeah, but
I don't read them.
Well,
so
I do, because I want to see what everybody else... I don't believe anything about me, but I believe everything about everybody else. I want to see what everybody's up to. But actually, you know, some of the stuff's true, but I have read them. I do read them. I don't go out and buy them, but I usually have them because there's a story about me in them, and then if they're there, I'll read the rest of the stories.
When you read stories about you that are crazy and untrue, do you laugh or get mad?
Both, a little bit of both. I don't know that I get mad so much as I get hurt sometimes, or embarrassed, you know, for the other people.
Does your husband get mad?
Oh, no, he takes it with a grain of salt. He thinks it's so funny.
We have social media questions. Cajun Girl on Twitter, do you consider yourself a feminist?
I'm very feminine, and I'm all for women. I just never followed that, you know, when it was like as a political statement. You know, I never thought I had to, you know, to beat the men down to raise the women up. I just try to raise the women up and do what I can. I'm very proud to be a woman. I'm very proud of all the accomplishments that women do. I'm proud to be part of that 9 to 5, where we were actually preaching that, you know, equal pay for equal work. And we've come a long way, but a long way to go.
B. Foster on Twitter. Would you guest star on Grace and Frankie, which stars Lily Tomlin and Jane Fonda, your co-stars?
Yes, we've been trying our best to figure out how to get me on there, and we've finally figured out there might be a way to do it where I actually can go on as myself,
as
a entertainer, maybe come into their area and they're at my show for some reason, something to that effect. So we're going to get me on there.
That's a great show.
I know it. They're great. I love them.
Ricardo Cruz Roman on Facebook. Do you believe in aliens?
Well, I kind of do, because I are one. Don't you think I'm an alien?
Maloney Hargitay on Twitter. How many nieces and nephews do you have?
Oh, I've got so many grand nieces. I've probably got at least 50 with the nieces, nephews, the grand nieces and nephews, and now the others are even coming along. So I've got a lot.
Quickie today on Twitter. Where's Kenny Rogers?
Well, Kenny Rogers, to my understanding, is on a world tour. He's doing his last and final tour. I don't know exactly what town he's in right now, but he's supposedly doing a world tour this year.
He's a great singer.
He's a wonderful man. I love him. Good friend.
George Pratt on Facebook. Who are you voting for?
I have not decided yet.
Rock Hill on Twitter wants to know, where do you hide your wrinkles?
Well, you'll have to ask the doctors in Beverly Hills about that. I don't know where they've got them.
Cheryl Gagnon on Twitter. How do you maintain your confidence after the age of 50?
Well, I've always had a lot of confidence. I think the same way that you maintain it before you're 50. I've just always believed in myself. I've always believed in my beliefs and what I stand for and who I am. And so I don't place all that much on the age thing, the fact that I'm getting older. I wish I could stay young forever, don't we all? But I just try to make the most of every year. I mean, I could grow old, or I can grow old gracefully. So.
Rodvinsky on Twitter. Do you have any tattoos?
I do, but they're not tattoos that are for big statements, bold statements. I have some tattoos that I've started doing just to cover up some scarring. That I have a tendency to have keloid scarring, and so I have scarring sometimes that they won't ever lose the purple. So I started having little pastel things to disguise things.
Good idea.
I've splattered them here and there, but I'm not making I wouldn't be a biker chick or anything.
Delicious one on Twitter. When's the last time you spoke with Miley Cyrus?
Just a few weeks ago, because we were trying to. She's working now as the guest. One of the guest hosts on The Voice, who I love very much. So I couldn't get there because I'm on tour. But I did do some video stuff for her for them to use in the show to say, you got to get on Miley's team, whatever. And so we're talking about possibly in the future maybe doing some song together, might even do some TV work together.
Deanna K via Twitter. Do you exercise, and do you have a personal trainer?
Oh, yeah, I'm big on exercise. Every day I do diddly squats. Don't you?
Yeah, me too. I walk around the block.
I do my diddly squats. Sometimes I'll add a few other things to it.
Sammy Sam on Twitter. The best decade for country music, 70s, 80s, or now?
They've all been great. I think there's something wonderful in all the decades. I'm mostly proud that country music is still so loved, respected. I believe that there'll always be great young people that want to go back to the old traditional things like my music, early days, and Merle Haggard, you know, those type of things, or even as early back as the Carter family. But I think what's going on in country music now is really good too, because it crosses us over into a bigger market. It's the biggest music going.
And what is special about Nashville? I know there is a Nashville sound. I know it's the name of the baseball team. What's special about the city?
Well, this is, first of all, a wonderful city. It's a good location, and because it has such an energy because of all those things that you said, it's like a hometown, a favorite town where things have been born, things have lived, like the music, hit records and hit shows have come out of here. You know, so just so many creative things. But it's just a wonderful city. It's easy. We're getting a lot of traffic now, but it's a big city, but easy to get to where else you want to go. More and more people are coming every day now. It's going to be the new Atlanta before you know it.
Dolly, you're a doll.
I love you. I'm so glad to get to do this.
Dolly's new album. Goodbye from Nashville, Tennessee.